This is FNGR, and we're taking a look at 2014's Godzilla, the American release. The biggest problem with this movie? Go fuck yourself, there really isn't one. I'm not saying it was perfect. I personally would have enjoyed more monsters and more fights. It really just wouldn't fit in the plot. I must be lacking as a critic because I actually really enjoyed the military character Ford Brody. He made me feel patriotic. I don't consider him a blank slate. Oh, spoiler warning. I don't normally give these, but we're going to spoil all of it. The scene where his mother dies in front of his father made my eyes well up a little. Was it formulaic? I guess. I'm not as dead inside as, say, the Tommy Olivers in the movie Bobs of the world. Joe Brody, aka Ford's dad, seemed to be going into the conspiracy nut theme after his wife's death, and he dies before the gimmick becomes tiresome. The last thing I wanted to see was Godzilla turn into a goddamn episode of the fucking X-Files. By the way, I hated the X-Files, and I hated X-File fans. I thought it was more tedious than Seinfeld. I was really paranoid that they were going to have Bryan Cranston, that's Joe Brody, aka Walter White from Breaking Bad, turn this into a melodrama. And this is from a guy who likes drama in his life and movies. Honestly, while watching this movie, I didn't realize it. So it's not like watching Walter White, how some people might have made the distinction of seeing Agent Smith in Lord of the Rings and making the joke, all humans are a disease. Looking through the abandoned town that the Brody clan comes back to is a visual treat. The decay and growth feels like it's wandered out of another movie. And once again, it doesn't overstay its welcome. Ken Watanabe, from his Inception fame, shows up as Dr. Ichiro Serizawa, because we have to have a Japanese doctor in a Godzilla movie to be preachy about nuclear power. I noticed him immediately, despite his limited lines. But the Godzilla movie isn't a 2-hour-long guilt trip, much to movie Bob's lament, so Dr. Ichiro has a limited role. He drops some facts about the monsters, we get an atomic bomb dig, and we move on. Personally, I didn't want to hear the man nerd on for the extended period of time with pseudoscience explaining the monsters. The movie could have used more action, but within the confines of the script, it would have been difficult to deliver without sacrificing the plot. And you couldn't ask for a better plot, Bobby, and then ask for the very thing you need to sacrifice the plot for. This wasn't Machete. It didn't drown in camp, but it is in there. But if you need me to piss on something to make me feel more objective, sure. I'm gonna crap on the one thing everyone else liked. The fight scene itself is overhyped. I liked it, but in all honesty, the finishing scenes are far and away the legit high points, far outshadowing everything else. The actual battle itself is overly dark against 3 monsters, 2 of which are pitch black to begin with. If I had to pick a nit, having a night setting for the battle seems like a poor choice. Godzilla's breath weapon was so goddamn amazing, and how they used it, it's easily forgivable. The military for the most part is fodder, but they're supposed to be. Any problem you could have with this series is mostly a problem you'd have with a faithful adaptation. To have made this movie better, you would have needed to toss out the old formula out the window. Guys, it's Godzilla, not Lord of the Rings. It was never made with amazing writing. I liked Godzilla Final Wars. It embraced a batshit over-the-top silliness, but that wasn't this movie. It never was going to be this movie. I'd like to tell all the anime otaku fans that this is something else and should be judged as such. Forget about scores. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie, and unless you're looking for something flawless, a masterpiece in a Godzilla movie, which has never existed, I think you'll enjoy this one. So till next time, don't ask why a field burns or a plague spreads. For no good reason.